everyone. Happy Crafternoon. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming around the world. Today is the next video in our Master Layout series, and we're going to be focusing on Master Layout 6. Now, Master Layout 6 is a little bit of a different kind of master layouts because although it does create card layouts, so to speak, it's not quite the same as the other master layouts, which are more panels that layer together to create backdrops for your focal images. There's a lot of pretty neat images in Master Layout 6, and I'm going to show you a bunch of different layouts that I created, and I'm going to show you some other fun ways that you may not have thought of to use this fun die set. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Happy Crafternoon, everybody.
How are you?
I'm better than horrible.
We're a little gray together.
We are a little gray.
Mine's more turquoise, though, like aqua.
Graying.
You need to go see Rena. Like I get mine done all the time. How are you? Things going good in your world?
Oh, yeah. Plenty to do.
Always plenty to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you have a word of the day for everybody for later?
I have a word of the day.
All right, awesome. That's great. All right, well, we're going to get right into today's video because there's a lot to go over. So with the other Master Layouts videos, you may have noticed that they always have a link to go to the blog and to download the most recent downloads for your binder. I didn't put them up yet. I'll put them up today, right after the video. The reason why is because I was working on them up until the very last minute. I stayed up super late last night creating all of these layouts and trying to figure out the best way to convey all of this information to you with this particular die set. So let's take a look at what you're going to be able to print coming up. So this is, of course, the sizing sheet that we've been doing for every Master Layouts die set. And this one just tells you all the different sizes for all of these dies, these single dies. But it also has, which I love what Brian did here, he did tree 1, tree 2 assembled. So tree 1 is a little bit taller, tree 2 is a little bit shorter, and then tree 3 is this one right here. And I'm going to show you the difference in all of these trees and how these two trunks work with them. So I love that he did that. So thank you, Brian, if you're watching. All right. And then normally, let me show you from last time. Normally, we have something like this, right? Where it's different card layouts that are mocked up on the computer. So these are not real card projects, but these are just mock-ups using the digital files that I created to turn these into dies. But this time, it's difficult to do that. The way these are, it's difficult to do that, especially with these, because these are just single blades, right? So this could be a mountain that goes from here down to here. Or it could be a tiny little hill, depending on where you cut it. So what I decided to do instead is actually make cards and then photograph them and create this kind of sheet, but with actual photographs. So this is going up onto the blog that you will be able to print out and you'll be able to see these. Now I created these from my actual cards that I have in the binder. So what I think would be fun to do is for you guys to create all of these different layouts and put them in your binder. Of course, I have my little tri-cuts, and I love that. Yeah, thank you for that word. We love you. The tri-cuts in here are great because you can lay them out and see where you want your scene before you actually start gluing these down. But let's take a look at the real layouts, okay? So the first two that I created here, I'm going to pull them out because there's always a glare on that sheet. And also, I'm actually going to lay some images on here to show you how these would turn into cards. So here is my first two layouts. Let's zoom in just a little bit. So I wanted to convey that these could be used for all seasons, right? So what I did here was I have some nice plush grass. I used the grass dye. And then I have some hills in the background. I've got one of the trees that's more like a summer tree, right? Because most of these kinds of trees die in the winter. They're not pine or evergreen. And then I used the sun and the cloud, and I used some ocean mist to make the sky in the background. Now, what I want to show you today is how we're going to create one of these layouts. And we'll turn it into a card, but then we're going to create some other things too, because I want to show you how to do the other things. But what I want to show you today is how you can use a die like Master Layouts 2, and you can continue the stitching so that it's flawless going up around the edge. And that's pretty easy to do, and you probably have seen me do it before if you've been watching me for a while. But if you're new, or maybe that wasn't something you were focusing on, yeah, there's an actual die set for this Master Layout, Sherry. It's right here. It's Master Layout 6. This is the one that we're using today to cut out all of these pieces. Okay, so that is kind of our spring and summer one. Then we have an autumn look down here. So what I did was I cut the same tree 3 times, but I kind of flipped around the top of the tree to make them look a little bit different. They're not all exactly positioned the same way, which is nice that you can assemble these yourself. And I also used a different trunk on this one than I used for these two, again, to make it look like 3 different trees. Then I have my grass here, and I did edge it a little bit with some green, but it's kind of brown now, right? Because this is, this is the fall, right? We're moving to the fall. So my hills are brown now. These could be farm hills. You wouldn't even have to add that little green on there. You could add brown instead. I have my 3 autumn trees. I really think I could have done a bright red one too, because that is such a beautiful color up here in Wisconsin. And then I added 2 clouds, and I made my sun a little more pale in here. And you can see with this kind of layout, the perfect kinds of images to use are little animals, like a little, I have some stamp sets here that I think work really well. Let me grab them for you here and show you. So for example, and some of these you might have because they were actually incentive sets. Like this one here, this is the Sweet Spring. You could cut this wheelbarrow out and put it right in the front. Or you could just have these little, like the little plant and kind of like getting ready to do your gardening. And you could just have those in the foreground and everything else in the background. So this is a good one. Also for fall too, because we do a lot of gardening and harvesting in the fall. Another really cute set, let's see if I can find it here, is this one here. This is called Spring Joy. So you've got these cute little animals. You've got a little floofy sheep. You've got a bunny and a chick. And this is a great little Easter set. It also, there is a die set available for it. Here's the coordinating die set that you can get for it. And these little animals would be perfect for spring cards and summer cards. Then also one of our newer sets, Spring Friends, that has a bunny and a chick. And it also has like this watering can with flowers. This would be really cute to have in the foreground here. And this one also has the die set. This we use a lot because it's got the postage stuff too. So this is a kind of a good one. But I just wanted to show you a couple different things that you could use. Oh, and that this one here does have a coordinating die set too, the Sweet Spring. And I know a lot of you have these already. And you can also go through all of your craft stuff that you have at home. I'm sure you guys have tons of stamps that would work great with these. Now, another one that's really fun is, of course, our little die cut set here, Spring Forest. You could put these right in here and make a little Easter card, right? You could have the little chick standing on his head. You know, you could do a lot of cute things like that, right? Super easy, right? There's a card right there. All you have to do is have that layout in the background, and you can just add your cute little animals. I also think that the fox would be a really cute one for an autumn card, too. That would be really cute. I feel like the bunny is great for spring and summer, and the chick, they feel very Eastery and very springy. But the fox, I feel like, can go either way in either direction. All right, so that is my first little look at some layouts here. You've got spring and summer, and you've got fall. Now, here we go. We're breaking into winter here. So you can use the same hills, right? The same hills that we used over here for the spring and summer can also be fantastic snow hills. And here I use the evergreen style trees, which of course are year-round trees. And these would be, like something like this would be such a cute little Christmas card, right? So here, let me pull this out because it's easier when it's not on the slippery paper. Come on, you can do it, Gina. There we go. Okay. Looks a lot better and more crisp for you to see. But wouldn't this be cute to have like maybe couple little presents around this tree and have a little penguin like that, and then a Merry Christmas greeting up here. You could add gems and sequins, rhinestones on the trees to decorate them. You can cut a star out from one of the many stamp sets that we have that have stars in them to decorate these trees and make them feel more Christmassy. Or if you're celebrating a winter birthday, you could just have something like the little penguin there. You could also have a fox in the winter if you wanted, because there are winter foxes. You could make this a silver fox, more like an Arctic fox, and that would be really cute too. So you can see how when you add the mountains and you add the snow hills, it just changes everything, right? There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dies in this set. Because these 3 trees that are assembled, there are 2 trunks that would go with the 3 treetops. Okay, so that's a cute little way, right? Now here's another thing. You can make it a nighttime sky because there is a moon. So what I did here with this is I cut a moon out of our butterscotch cardstock, and then I cut 2 clouds out of our soft stone and I edged them all with slate ink. You could also edge them with black ink. And I used some blue denim cardstock just to make the background. Now, remember, I'm making all of these just out of cardstock. But you could take all of this up a notch by using our Sea, Sun, and Sky stencil and do the clouds in the sky. You know, you could really jazz it up however you want. I just wanted to use all dies here because these are all master layouts too. I made all my panels with master layouts too. Now, that being said, you can also use Master Layout 7, which we're going to do next week, to extend it and make it a mini slimline card, because these hills are pretty big. I just cut them off when I did Master Layouts 2. But you could have a long, thin card and make it into a money holder for the holidays, and you could have a bigger scene that way. You could have 5 trees going across if you use the mini slimline. So, you know, these are all just kind of like serving suggestions. You know, you do it exactly the way that you want. But here I cut the 3 evergreens out of Stormy Sky, and I edged them with slate. I edged the snow hills with a little bit of slate, and then I just popped that onto a Stormy Sky layer and onto a white card base. So we have the nighttime version of the winter. Now, if you wanted this to be a nighttime version of summer, maybe you wanted to do something like camping, you could do some of these trees in there, but make them maybe black and gray. You could maybe have this being more of a gray than a white. I wanted the white to signify snow. but you could definitely have this. And again, it's going to depend a lot on what you put in the picture that's going to determine, like what you put in this background that's going to determine what the season actually is. But here with the white snow hills, definitely looks like a winter night. And you could splatter some white ink or use our, what is that background stamp that everybody likes? It's like, I think it's called Snowy background, where you just kind of stamp it with white ink and it'll look like snowfall. So lots of different things that you can do with the seasons here. And I feel like we've hit all the seasons, right? Because spring, like for this one, if you really wanted this to look like spring, you could make your grass hills a little bit lighter green, and you could add things like tulips. You know, you could add just a lot of spring extras in here. For the summer, you could, put like a little lounge chair in there. You could do a lot of things. You could add a lake. So you could put a straight line going across with some blue water and then put some land. So then it would look like maybe you're at the lake. All right. So there are a couple of ideas. Now, let's get to this last idea, because this one I think is really fun. And for those of you who say, yeah, I like this and I have it, but I don't do quite as many scene cards all the time, and I'd still like to make use of the die set. Well, look at these fun cards I made using this die set. So let me pull these out here so you can see them. So although we have a hill and we have mountains, those hills and mountains, and even the grass die doesn't have to be hills and mountains. They can be other things that create fun backgrounds. So I thought this would be a really fun card for me to make today to show you how to do this, since you've seen me make so many of these scenes before. And I can link, like at the end of this video, I go back and I edit the end screens to show you 2 more videos you might be interested in. I'll put 2 more videos that do scene building, okay? Oh, and one more stamp and die set I wanted to show you that I think would be really cute with these winter ones is the coffee critters. This was in a kit not that long ago, maybe last winter, and it has the cute little bear and the fox and this little guy here, and you can cut all of that out and you can make them enjoying a nice hot cup of coffee or a cup of hot cocoa or tea outside in the open air. Okay, so back to this. I'd like to show you how to do these 2 today because I've never shown these before, and I think that it's another fun way for you to use this die set. So we're going to create one scene just so that you can see how to do it and how to get all of those stitchings to line up. We're going to create this rainbow, and then we're going to create this background so you can see it. So these are really, really fun layouts for you to try. So let's put this back and we'll start with the scene. All right, let me get this out of the way.
Can you do a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a few viewers who are just getting started and are interested in what you think the first step into the master layouts. Number 1?
I would say number 1 or number 2, because most of us make A2 cards, and most of the inspiration you're going to see out there on YouTube videos by lots of different creators are going to be A2 size cards. So you're going to get the most use out of Master Layouts 1 or Master Layouts 2. I'm going to be using Master Layouts 2 in today's video again. So it is just a good basic staple, and you will see it probably in 80% of the cards that I post. That's a great one to get started and just kind of get the hang of how it all works.
Okay, and PA wants to know, are the Gina K Designs detail brushes long or short bristles?
They are short bristles. This is what they look like right here. Short bristles.
There it is.
Short and flat on the top. All right. So let's start by creating a panel for our sky. So I'm going to just grab from my scrap box here. This is a piece of ocean mist. And I'm going to cut this down to a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. And we're going to start by creating our background, our sky, okay? And we're going to do that with Master Layouts 2. And then everything else is going to go on top of this piece that we're creating. Okay, we are going to do more die cut sets for sure. We definitely have more in the works. We had a brainstorming session yesterday and it was super fun. Okay. All right, so we'll cut this out first. All right, now we have our panel that we need for the entire card. And it's really important now, everything that we're going to do is going to fit on here perfectly, and we want all the stitching to line up perfectly. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some grass. So this is the grass die. It's got a blade at the top, but it does not have a blade at the bottom. And because of that, we're actually going to get 2 for 1 out of this, and we can adjust how high the grass is based on what we cut off the bottom. So I'm just going to cut this off the side here. Let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit to make you be able to see the whole thing. I think that might be a little bit better. Okay, so you can see here, I'm just going to cut the end of this cardstock off. I can go all the way down to here if I want. Why don't I do that? So we'll cut that off first. Okay. For those of you wanting a new 5x7 master layout set, I think you're really going to like next month. That's all I'm going to say about that. I know you're all very excited about that because everybody's getting into the 5x7 cards now. And we want to make sure everybody stays happy. So you'll love next month. Okay, so I'm going to get a blending brush and I'm going to get some grass. Sorry, I know I'm turning around. And I have no ability to do alphabets today. I don't know why. Okay, took me a minute to go to G. So I'm going to use my inkstand here, and I am going to use just a small blending brush. You can use a detail brush. You know what else works really great? I don't know if I have one available, but I might. I think I could probably use this one. One of these. These are the Gina K Designs sponge daubers. Normally I don't use these very often for things, but for edging, oh my word, are these just the greatest. So, oh, that one's pretty clean. Let me just get a little alcohol here and clean it. You could clean these with alcohol too. You don't need to worry because I just want to make sure I get some of that off. There we go. These dry just a hair slower than the blending brushes because they're a sponge instead, but that's good. So I'm going to get some grass green on here. I'm going to use this instead. I think this is going to be a lot easier. I know it was last night at home when I was working on this. So we're just going to edge. Can you see that? I'll try to hold it over here by the die cutting machine so you can see it up against white. See how we're just getting some dark edges on the grass? And the reason why we're going to do this, and I'll show you. Hey, Brienne, your ink stands work great with sponge daubers too. Love it. Okay. And thanks for being here, Brienne, and helping us. I know like people are always looking for videos and stuff, and Brienne shares all kinds of links to help people. So if you're looking for anything, you can always ask Brienne. Now, see, if I didn't have that edged, you don't really see, it kind of blends in a little bit to the rest of the green cardstock. But when you add the edging, see how it stands out from the rest of the green cardstock really well? This one, some of it bled over the side, but can you see like you lose some of the detail in here? But when you've got the edging, it's nice and bright. Now the cool thing about this die is when you cut one, you get two, because you can use the other side as well. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do 2 rows of grass. Boy, this is the old-fashioned way of blending with the daubers, but I like them. It's really good for this. Okay, so now we've got 2 areas of grass that can come together and create that grassy look on the front. Okay. So I'm going to keep this out because we've got some snow hills to do. Now we're going to trim this down, but before we do, not snow hills, grass hills. But before we do, I'm going to get some grass green. That was jelly bean green cardstock I used for this. Now I'm going to use some grass green, which is a deeper green, to do my hills. All right, so here I have the edge of my cardstock, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create 2 hills. So one's going to go this way and one's going to go this way, and then they're going to overlap. So I can cut that off, the edge like that, and that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, the edging really makes it pop, right? So same with this. We're going to edge this piece as well with that same sponge dauber. We're just going to go around the edge. This really creates separation between all your designs. So I find that edging these die cut pieces really does kind of help. And look how smooth it is when you use the dauber. You don't get like bristle marks. So these are fun. Okay, so let's cut another one. I'm going to just flip this over, this piece over this way. And I think I'll cut like a higher hill here, like that. And you can test it to make sure that it's going to look good with your other hill. And I think those look really nice together. So we're going to cut this. Okay. And we're going to edge this as well. So now we've got our grass and we've got our hills. There we go. And they'll look nice together. And you can see now, you know, when this one overlaps here, they're not just the same color. See, it's hard to see that, right? There, a little bit is bled over, but it's hard to see when they're laying together and they're the same exact color. Again, so by doing that edging, you create some separation between them. Okay, now here's where we're going to create our stitching. So for the grass, I'm going to take this die, this Master Layouts 2 die, and I'm going to lay it onto my grass right here, like that, just on the edge. And it's going to come up onto the sides as well. So let's cut that. Okay. Now, we've got that perfect edge that's going to match the stitching at the bottom. You see that? See how that matches perfectly? And we don't have to try to figure out how much to cut off and how to get it perfect. It's just going to be perfect because Everything's going on this Master Layouts 2 panel. Now, if you were using Master Layouts 1 or Master Layout 7, you would just cut that panel out using that die, whatever die you started with. In my case, I started with Master Layouts 2. All right, so this one, I am going to trim this down a little bit first. Let me just do that right over here because it's not going to fit in my die cutting machine. Okay. We'll save that for another card. Now we're going to do the same thing with this, but we're going to make it a little bit bigger because we want this. See, we can look at this and say, how high up do we want our grass to go to the next part? And I think that looks really good. So that's where we're going to cut it. We can straighten it out a little bit. That's where we're going to cut it. It could be that the internet is just busy, Charlotte. I don't know, but I don't think we're having any issues here. I'm watching on my phone and it looks pretty good. Okay, so you see here now, when you layer these two together, the stitching is continuous, but now we've got 2 nice rows of grass. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with these dies, with these panels. We're going to cut it. Just going to cut a little bit off there using that die and creating, once again, more stitching. So then it doesn't matter where we put, you know, it doesn't matter what layers we put together first, what goes on. It doesn't. As long as we've got, it's going to go to the right spot. And we'll do this final one. Do it right there. And if your dies ever get warpy, because these big kind of dies can get warpy, they just bend and flex right back into shape. So there you go. Okay, I think that's going to be a good spot right there. It might be, Charlotte. It might just be your internet. Sometimes on our lunchtime lives, people have a little trouble because it seems like everybody at work goes to lunch, and that's when they all go on their phones, surf the internet, and it feels like all that bandwidth gets divided up over a lot more people. Okay, so now I'm going to put this away. It's coming right back out, but I want to assemble this part first. Okay, and we'll zoom in a little bit so that we can all look at the stitches really closely together. Okay. Did my battery die on my zoom? I hope not. Oh, nope, there we go. Okay, a little more. There we go. All right, so we can kind of look at this and see that, you know, this hill is going to look really good here, and then we'll bring this smaller hill on top that'll be closer to us. And isn't that pretty, how the stitches all work so nicely? I do love that. Okay, let me find a tape runner. You could do this with liquid glue or you could do it with a tape runner, whatever you prefer. I would just say make sure that you get, you know, that tape or glue right to the ends here because it is going to go all the way to the end and you don't want it kind of flapping. And then you could do it a couple different ways. You know, you could just kind of line it up at the bottom, or you can, I like to be very precise about this part, go right into that corner. And sometimes I look on the back to make sure nothing's showing, and then I know it's in the right spot.
So Anne-Marie wants to know, can you not stick everything on the panel and then cut it out with the stitched master layout, or will it get too thick?
It's too thick. You know, I've tried it. It's too thick because by the time we're done here, we've got 5 layers of 100-pound cardstock. So it just won't work. It's not going to cut all the way through. That's why I like to do them one at a time. And then by doing them one at a time, you can really see how they're going to lay out together as well. You'll see when you do yours, when you look at the at this part here, how thick this is going to get down here. All right, so perfect stitching lined up. Love that. Okay, now we're going to put this one on the bottom here because we're going to bring our grass toward the front. Our hills are a little bit more in the back. And we're doing these one at a time as well. I'll lay that one. And we want to make sure nothing's sticking out the back. And it's good on the sides. Okay, so there is our first bit of grass in the front. And now we're going to assemble the second thing of grass right here. And you'll see how thick that's getting? That die just couldn't go down that far. So that's why I teach this technique. It's a good thought, and I'm glad you asked the question because I tried it because I thought the same thing. But if I can save you from, you know, going through all the work of cutting all these pieces and then not having it cut through all the way, which can be really frustrating, I'm here for it to help. Okay, so now we've got our full grassy part right here. We've got our hills here in the background. All right, so now we're going to cut some other images here. We need a cloud. Now what's cool about these clouds is two clouds, if you turn them upside down and then you overlap them like this, will be very similar to one treetop. And if you're doing autumn, sometimes half the tree is one color and half the tree is another color. You might be like a little bit more green toward the bottom, but starting to get red and yellow at the top. You can make a two-tone tree this way by mixing the two clouds together, because they will work just fine with that tree trunk if you do that. All right, but I'm going to use this smaller cloud. There are two different size clouds. I'm going to use the smaller one. And I am going to cut out a tree, so I will need that as well. So we can, you know, cut a few things out at the same time here as long as we have small enough pieces of cardstock. And let's zoom out again. Wow, I wish this zoom thing the battery didn't like shut off every time. Our old camera, it was always on, but the new cameras that we got, we had to buy the zoom separately. And okay, I'll stop complaining though, because I like our new cameras. I think they're crisp. All right, so I have a piece of sweet mango here for the sun. And then what do I need? I need a little piece of white. You know, this is where all your little scraps come in handy. And I think, do I have a little scrap in here somewhere? Yeah, here's a little scrap. I'm going to cut my cloud from there. I will cut a treetop. I think I want my treetop to be jelly bean green. I want it to be a little brighter. So I'll just put this up here with my treetop on it. And then I'm going to need some brown. And the brown color that I really like to use a lot with the tree trunks is the warm cocoa. It's a lighter brown, and I think it's a good color for the tree trunks. It stands out a little bit. Okay, let's hope all this goes through. We'll see. Here we go. going to town here. Let's see. Oh, I think you're right. I think that the sun would be beautiful in a gold metallic cardstock. Why not? Jazz it up. Okay. So there's our little sun. Here's our cloud. Here's our treetop. And here is our trunk. So that's going to be good for this card. Now for the treetop, in my samples, I did not edge the treetop, but I think I will this time. And something else I want to show you. Let's see if we can zoom back in here. Get back in close. Tom, I think I might need a new battery. It's like going on, and then it goes right back off again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, and I'm stuck zoomed out. No! There we go. But it definitely needs a battery. Got to do it real fast. So I'm going to give Tom the remote, and if we start going in and out while he changes the battery, we're going to be sick. Okay. I got us in enough. I did want to show you, though, the Spring Forest set, these little guys, has a completely different kind of tree. So this is a different tree that works really nicely with these trees. And, you know, when I designed the Spring Forest, I tried to do it so scale-wise it would work with our Master Layout 6. So this is one of the Spring Forest trees, and then this one is from Master Layout 6. Just wanted to point that out in case you guys have the Spring Forest from that one kit where it was included in the kit. All right, so I'm just going to go around here. And the reason why is because, see how it just creates so much separation when you have that edging. It just creates dimension. Okay, so I think that's going to look good. Now we're going to put a little bit of tape right here on the top of this tree trunk. And then we're going to lay that right on there. And of course, if you prefer using liquid glue for this, I understand, because tape can be a little squirrely, but I think that looks pretty good. And then we can have our tree right here in the distance. Just a little bit in the distance. See, that's some of my glue. There we go, my tape. All right, so for the sun, we could edge it a little bit. Or we could just have it like that. And then I love the idea of the cloud just kind of being a little bit in front of the sun. I think that's super cute. Shall we try edging? I don't know if I have a sponge dauber that can edge in that color. Here's something that might work. I will try some tangerine twist, but I do like that suggestion of metallic cardstock. I think that would be really fun. All right, and we'll just like kind of hit the rays a little bit. That's pretty. See, it makes them glow a little bit. I like that. The cloud is nice when you edge it with gray, but I think for a sunny day, the gray makes it feel like it might rain any minute, and I don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna get a piece of black cardstock. Here's one from the other night. And I'm going to cut out my back panel for my Master Layouts 2, my shadow layer. All right, let's do that. I think Tom went to Walgreens to get batteries. I don't know where he went. He's been gone for a little while now. Here he is. I said, I just told him, I think maybe you went to Walgreens to go get batteries.
I'm gonna have to.
Oh, really? We don't have any?
No.
Oh, no. All right, well, at least we're in close enough that people can see. And I can move my die cutting machine back so they can see for the next card what I'm going to do. So we'll be okay. We'll make it through. We will be fine. We can make it through anything together. All right, so I'm going to lay this on top of here. Now remember, you can do all these, oh, my tape runner ran out too. You can do all of these same layouts, swapping that green for white and making it all look like snow. I wouldn't do the grass, but the hills definitely will look like snow hills. And then just edge them in a soft stone ink. Or you can edge them in like sea glass or ocean mist, something like that. And it'll give you that little bit of separation that you need. Okay. So there we go. We've got our Master Layouts 2 panel onto that bigger Master Layouts 2 panel. But you can see, once again, that's kind of thick toward the bottom. Yeah, note, right, Stampin' Share. You're right, batteries, got to keep batteries in stock. We will do that from now on. It only takes one time to learn what you need. So I did get myself some more big foam squares. I was out of those for a while. I am, Cheryl. It's a Monday this Thursday. You're right. All right, I'm going to put a big foam square right in the center of this tree. And then I've got some that I trimmed. So I'm going to take a skinny one and put that right on the trunk. This way. And I don't know what happened to my tweezers, but they got so dirty, and I think it's because I had sticky stuff on my fingers. Did you fix it? Mm-hmm. Oh, Tom fixed it. He didn't even have to go to Walgreens. Somebody's trying to use some piece of equipment right now that Tom just stole the battery. All right, so we've got our tree trunk there. And remember, if you want to have some fun with this tree trunk, you could take like some of the red pearls and make it an apple tree, or you can take, if you have red enamel dots, or you can even just punch out using a small punch or one of our dies that has those little dots and make it an apple tree. So you can make this an apple orchard and do more of the autumn look. All right, we're going to add a foam square right in the center there. Okay. And we're going to add a foam square, a small one, the 1/4 inch one, just on the one side here. And then we'll put a little tape here so it'll stick to the sun on that side. I'll use my tweezers for this. Just like that. I love that. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now we need a half sheet of cardstock, and I just grabbed this. I don't know if it's a half sheet, but we'll measure it to make sure. That's close enough. Oh, not really. Maybe. Let's see. No, I'm going to cut one. I'll be using that for the next card anyway. So let's just get a piece of white cardstock here and we'll cut a half sheet. A lot of times when I do these scene cards and they've got so much different color cardstock going on, I like to just do a simple white card base. It really sets it off nice, and it doesn't interfere with all the other colors you've got going on. So we'll score this at 4 1/4. There we go. And we'll put this together. All right, so that is how you get all of your stitching, whatever master layout set you want to use. Even if you want to go all the way up to the 5x7, you know, you want to go and do a mini slimline. Maybe you want to do a square card. Any of those. That's how you get all your stitches to match and make it really easy to lay it out. Now for this one, we will just add a little fox here. I actually pulled this fox off of another card because I didn't have time to do this part. So I'm gonna just pull this off here. I know, that's crazy, right? I had to take a thing apart. I just ran out of time. I mean, it was so late last night when I was continuing to work on this, and I thought, all right, well, I will just pilfer from something else. There we go. So we can put our little fox on here, and shall we let's put the little fox and the little chick. I also think it's so cute when he's like on his head like that. So maybe we'll do that. Does the slimline die have stitching? Yes. Yes, it does. The slimline and the mini slimline dies both have stitching. Slimline is the big one that fits in a number 10 business envelope. And then the mini slimline is the one that fits in like a check envelope. So we'll put that here. We can overlap him near the tree, and then this will give us a place to put a greeting. So let's do that. We'll get his tail. So I'm just going to do his tail up here at the top, and then I'm going to put tape here because this is so many layers down here that we could tape his body right down here. There's a lot of layers. I guess we could put a foam square there, but I don't know. There's a lot going on. Maybe one foam square, but we'll put it high up on his body. Like that. Okay, let's see how that looks. And we'll do a little tape down here. And we'll do our best. This is a used embellishment here, a used focal image. So I may have built it differently if I started from scratch. There we go. That's cute. And then we could put him standing on his head right there and add our greeting right there. It's so cute. It's so fun. I wonder if we have a little Easter greeting somewhere close that I don't have to start from scratch. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my foam square right there, and I'm going to place the chick where I want him on his head. And then just press into the foam square. How's that? That makes it easier. All right, let's look for a greeting that we can use for this card. Do I have one close by already cut, or do I have to cut one? Might have to cut one. So let's see what we have. I don't know if I have an Easter greeting, but I think, let's see. I have a lot of winter greetings here. Maybe I'll do thinking of you. That would be cute. Or birthday wishes. I could make it a birthday card. I have a lot of birthdays coming up. Spring birthdays. There's a lot of them. We'll do that. We'll make it a birthday card. And I need to find my strip sentiments dies. Here we go. Okay. So we'll cut a little strip sentiment out. I know we have Easter greetings. I know I have it in that stamp set that I just showed you. But we'll just make it a birthday card because I need one anyway. And it's a cute birthday card too. It's me and Tom. See, doesn't it look just like us? This is Tom and this is me. All right. So let's do that right there. You okay with that, Tom? You're the fox, and I'm the chick.
Yeah, baby.
I know there's a foam square thing in there, but I'm leaving it because I have it positioned well. Yeah, so the sentiment strips, we have more coming out this year. We kind of put a little hold on those for a little bit because we started getting into the poly glaze, and you know, you start getting into stuff and people start getting into it, and that's what we kind of focused on, a lot of poly glaze style greetings. But I think this will be super cute, just coming right off the side there. And I'll have it go all the way to the black edge, like that. Super easy. Let's just put it right on there with tape. And we have a little card. And I think my goal with this card was not to, you know, reinvent the wheel, but rather to give you the basics on how to get all those stitches to look right and just how to create a basic scene using the Master Layout 6. Okay, so there we go. There's a card. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is how to use this little hill to create that rainbow effect. And it is so fun to do, and I think the cards are really fun to make. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with a red. Now I got my scrap box over here, so I've got lots of different pieces of cardstock here. So I'm going to start with, I'll just trim this one down. But I need like a full quarter sheet. So I'm going to start with a red. And let me move up more so you can see all this happening. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this. And we're going to cut just a little hill. Okay? So we're going to cut the top hill off. That's right, Theresa. What man wouldn't want to be a fox? And I guess I'm a chick. So it works. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place that die here, but we're going to go wider as we go out. Like that. See how that just kind of makes it wider? And we're going to cut that. Okay, she does need a turquoise bow, Susie. You're right. That would be my color. Okay, so now we've got our first piece here. And don't worry if it's like stuck and you got to pull it. Don't worry about that. We're just going to put that one aside. Now we're going to get an orange. And here is a tangerine twist. We cut this down to, I'm just like cutting on a pile of junk over here, but it's all right. So we've got this piece from something else I was working on. And we're going to cut our first curve. This is so much fun, guys. I love this. I love doing this with you guys. All right, we're just going to get rid of that. Now, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to, let me get it in position here. We're going to start thin, and then we're going to fan out. And if you want, you know, you can look at it and say, okay, does that look about the same? It could probably be just a little bigger. And that's what we're going to cut. Again, our second fan. All right. Now we need a yellow. And you could see now, these are going to fit together. They're not, you got to kind of like shimmy them a little bit to find the spot where they fit together. They're not going to fit together like from end to end. Well, they might, that's not too bad. I kind of nailed that a little bit, but sometimes it doesn't, but you can like maneuver them a little bit. Now we need a yellow. I need a bright yellow, and I found one. Okay. This is our wild dandelion. So the colors I'm going to use are whatever red I can find. I believe that's red velvet. And then I used tangerine twist because that was available. This is wild dandelion. I'm just telling you the color names, but you don't have to use these colors. Use whatever scraps you have laying around. This is a great way to use those scraps. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing again. Like that. I feel like that would be a little better. Let's take a look. Maybe we could fan out a little more there. Okay. And again, don't worry if it's not perfect, because we're going to cut it to be perfect in just a little bit. What does the fox say? All right, jelly bean. That's what I want next. Is this jelly bean? This is Jelly Bean.
PA wants to know where you purchased your top.
My top? I think I got this top at a store called Von Maur. Von Maur. But it also possibly was from Stitch Fix, because Stitch Fix is like one of my favorite things. I love Stitch Fix. I actually love it so much because I wear petite clothing, and it's kind of hard to find petite clothing. So, you know, if I have a medium petite, it might be, the medium might fit, but then it's real long on me, and the sleeves are kind of long. So I love petite clothing, and Stitch Fix has the petite option, which really is helpful to me. So it's either from Stitch Fix or it's from Von Maur, because they do have a petite section, and I really do like their stuff too. I don't shop there quite as much, but when I need something really nice, I will go to Von Maur. Okay, so you see what's happening here? We're getting our little rainbow going, our little whoosh. And then let's finish it off with a turquoise. I think I did Emerald Coast. I want to do that again. Do I have Emerald Coast here? Please let me have a piece of Emerald Coast. I don't. Oh, I do. Yay! I think Emerald Coast is fun. You know, you don't have to do a blue next or turquoise next if you don't want to. You can do whatever strikes your fancy. But Emerald Coast is such a bright color, and it's kind of right in between green and turquoise. I love it. It makes me feel like I'm in the Caribbean. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do the same again. This, cut that off. And then remember, you can cut lots of strips. Like this could be just something you do as a mojo starter. Just cut a bunch of them. You don't even have to make the cards. Just have them ready to go. And then one day when you're in the mood, you can assemble a whole card and you'll have everything ready to go. Okay, you see what I did? Just a reminder. Skinny up here, wide down there. Okay. Okay, so I think I have all the pieces that I need now. All from this little hill. Now, there are dies out there on the market that probably cut these switches already. I know we've got a die in our Master Layouts 8 that cuts a bunch of strips all together. But this is fun because you can make these as wide as you want. You know, all you have to do is pivot this down, and it could just be one big wide one. So let's say you did ink blending. You could do ink blending on a curve, cut it at the top, and then cut it real wide at the bottom, and just have that ink blended panel in a swoosh. So that's kind of fun. Now I have something here in my little tri-cut pack. This is just a piece of thin copy paper. And this is what I'm going to use to assemble my rainbow before I cut it out with Master Layouts 2. I'm not going to do this on cardstock because, again, it's going to be thick, right? So we don't want it to be that thick. We want this kind of thin piece of paper behind it. So you can do this any way you want. You can do it with glue or you can do it with tape. I'll do it with tape because I'm here and it's easy. But I'm just gonna, and I'm not even worried too much about where I'm putting these on this piece of paper because I'm actually gonna trim most of this paper away. And then I'm gonna add my orange one. Now this is where you want to make sure that you get it nice. So we'll just make sure it's fitting in there nicely. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing with all of these. Yeah, the copy paper is nice and thin, so you can do, you know, lots of layers and stuff using the copy paper. There we go.
Question from Sue, what size are the storage pockets you're using for the tri-cuts?
Those are our medium stamp pockets. And the measurements and everything should be on that product, so you'd be able to see it if you go over to the store and just take a peek at it. But you could use any size you want. You could even use the large stamp pockets if that's what you have, you know. You don't have to necessarily get specific ones. But I like the size because it's easy for me to get my hand in. Okay, and then here's our Emerald Coast. All right, so there we go. Now we've made our fun rainbow. Now it's time for us to cut this out. We're going to cut it out with Master Layouts 2. So we'll get the die cutting machine again. And we're going to cut a white panel out of Master Layouts 2, and we're going to cut a black panel out of Master Layouts 2. So that's why, for my friend who's new and trying to decide what to get, I use Master Layouts 2 so much. All right, we'll start right there. We can get pretty close to the edge there. And cut. Oh no, the storage pockets are all sold out. I know we have more. We have a huge shipment of those coming. I don't know where they are. I'll look into that today. So here's what I peeled off, and here is what's left behind. So it's just on copy paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to slip my scissors underneath this red one, and I'm just going to trim all this copy paper away. Just being careful not to cut into the rainbow itself. I've got my scissors just slipped back there, you see? I'm going to do the same thing here to the emerald. Just want to get down in there. You can even pull it away a little bit if you want. There we go. So Tom, I have to cut a Master Layouts 2, and then I have to cut the black panel. And that might be a perfect time for a word of the day. But you see how that looks now? Now I've got this piece that has the perfect stitching on both sides, cussy cutting. But really, I was just cutting away. And you can make it even easier for yourself by not sticking these down quite as much as I did, but it was pretty easy just to cut that away. So, do you want to do your word of the day while I die cut my white panels and my black panel?
It's time for Word O' the Day. Okay, here's a quick one.
Quick one.
Okay, if you if the majority of your diet comes out of a microwave,
Yes.
that's an example of nutrition.
I feel so called out right now. And seen at the same time.
Nutrition.
Oh my gosh.
The microwave. Word o' the day. Back to the dead space.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay, well, that was good. That took the amount of time that we needed it to take there. So now we have our our white and our black panel. So let's go ahead and put this rainbow onto this panel. Now you can see, you can line it up wherever you want. If you want to move it up more, if you want to move it down more, whatever works. But you can line that on there exactly where you want it. So I'm going to go right about there, like in the center. Okay. So we still have some copy paper back here, and that's just holding everything together. And then nutrition. That's a good one though. That's funny. Sometimes Tom runs them by me, but lately he hasn't been, so I get to be as surprised as the rest of you. Okay, so now this is going to go on top. Now I have a die cut here that I thought would be really kind of fun to use, and it's this butterfly, and it's got some purples, and I thought we could put the butterfly right here because that kind of finishes off the rest of the rainbow. It gives us that, you know, same emerald color, but then it goes into purple here. So I thought that that would be a really pretty kind of thing to do with this rainbow. And rainbows are, you know, they're God's promise, right? That's the rainbow in the Bible. The story was he sent a rainbow to Noah as a promise that he would never flood the place again. That's, you know, I'm I'm not much of a biblical scholar, but I always think of a rainbow as a really kind of nice thing for a sympathy card. I'm trying to make this work, but you know. So I just feel like it's really, really a hopeful symbol. So let's find a greeting that would work. Ooh, get well soon would be nice too with a rainbow. Wouldn't that be nice if we put get well soon right here? That would be really pretty. What else do I have in here? I have so many different things. I have so many things. But I don't know that I have that many words. I have hello friend. That would be really pretty. Just a very happy little hello friend. Kind of like that. I don't know that I need a get well card, but you know, it's always nice to send. Now here, just like as a sympathy, you could do just a little strip sentiment that says so sorry. But I feel like this is just a very cheerful card. So I'm going to do hello friend, and I'm going to pop these up with some foam squares. So let's get the butterfly popped up. And these are just bits and pieces that I pulled out of my scrap box. So, you know, I'm sure that if I had more time, my goal is really to show you the techniques more than it is to make cards, but it's nice to see a finished card now and then. I feel like, you know, you could really tune this in and you could find a greeting. I know I have all kinds of rainbowy greetings like You Color My World and stuff like that in different stamp sets. So you could find just the perfect, you bring color into my life, something that would be appropriate for a rainbow. So I like a rainbow card. I just think they're bright and fun, and I love color. I think that's what it is. I just love color so much that it's kind of hard to dislike that. It's just so eye-catching. And then I chopped up the other half of my white. So let me grab another piece of white here, and we'll cut a card base, and we'll turn this into a card. But isn't that fun? Now, did you think that you could do that with Master Layout 6? I didn't till last night. I was just really getting into it and playing with it and thinking, what else could we do that's really fun? And I just thought, oh, that's really fun, how we can just line those up any way that we want, and we can make And we have in one of our other master layout sets, we have like wavy lines, which are really cool, and I'll be showing that as well. But when I get to that die set. But the thing is that I loved about this layout is that it's very uniform going across. You know, you get the swish going across. And I thought that that was really pretty, that kind of swish. So they're a very simple card, right? Same die set, totally different things that you can do with them. All right, we're going to do one more because I definitely want to show you the mountain. Now, the mountain is the same concept, but it's just fun. First of all, it feels a little Charlie Brownish. So if you had black and then you wanted to do yellow on the top and yellow at the bottom and you have Charlie Brown stamps, I don't know if they're available, but you know, I think Peanuts probably, they have some stamps. That would be a really cute background to make out of this. It's not perfectly uniform, but it's cute and it has that kind of feel to it, which I think is fun. So let's just look here at some of these. Like this is really pretty here. Got a couple, this is really pretty too. We could blend these together on a card, kind of going around. I'm just picking from my bits and pieces here since I don't have a lot of time to make all brand new stuff. And we could make this like a get well card. So let's pick some colors that work with this to make our background. I do want to see what else I have though here. I love this. What else do I have? Ooh, you know I love the bird. Love the bird. I'm just digging through like all these little bits and pieces that I have laying around. That might be really pretty just like that. Those two. Let's see. What is this? This is a circle. I'll put white behind that because, you know, I like to ground things. I think the big at the top. That could work. Let's see, we have other things too that I cut out from other die sets. This is from our Delicate Flowers. That's really pretty too. We could like shove it in there a little more so it doesn't look so big. And I'm running out of stuff. I'm going to have to make lots of different bits and pieces because I've used so many of them in these master layouts videos. But I think that would work. Also, you know, it would be really pretty too. We could always fall back on our ephemera that I love so much and make an ephemera card. And then we could pick colors that would work with this ephemera. That would be really pretty too. I love to play in my flowers and my bits and pieces here. But the watercolor ephemera is a great one. So maybe we could do something with that. And I should have some leaves in here. Should have small leaves. I might have them in this one. I have so much of this ephemera because I love it so much. Yeah, I've got leaves in here. I could pick some leafy images. I could trim this down. Just grab enough that we can make something out of it. Okay, so if I go with these colors, then it's a lot. What is this sticking in there? That's a sympathy greeting. I don't know how that got in there, but we could use it. I'll clean this up later. This is too much to clean up right now. Here's the way I'll clean it up. Put it on a piece of cardstock and put it on the floor. All right. So if we do this, then now we're going to look for colors that are going to work with this. So how about some innocent pink? Here's bubble gum. I don't see, that's too purpley pink. So I feel like Innocent Pink might work better. Or we could go even softer. Let's go even softer and we'll do some gray. And we'll do, would craft look good with gray? Maybe. We could do gray and white, which would be very pretty in the background. Let's do that. We'll do gray and white and then we'll focus on the flowers. Okay. So, or maybe we'll do gray and darker gray. I must have a darker gray. Let me look.
How's your floor organization going over there?
It's kind of a mess back here, really. Let's go with the gray and the darker gray, because a lot of this is going to get covered up anyway with my grounding panel, and so I don't think it's going to be too bad to have two different color grays in the background. I just can't find any Innocent Pink, and you know, that's way somewhere else. I have some Dusty Rose, but I don't feel like that's a good match. I think Innocent Pink is our best match, and my Innocent Pink hole up here is missing, so, you know.
You want some?
No. Nope, I'm going to go with the grays. I'm going with the grays, Tom. Okay, so, very similar technique. Let's start with the darker, and we're going to, yeah, pink and gray is great, right? It's great. So, let's start... Well, it really doesn't matter where we start. Let's start right here. We're going to cut that out first. Now this one is a little different in that you have to remember what direction you have your blade when you go to your next panel. Okay, so we could do something like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this blade around and do something like that. Okay, can you see what that looks like there? And it's okay that it doesn't go all the way to the end. Okay. So here's our first piece. And again, I'm not worried about that. Now, we got to remember that our next one has to start with the blade in this position. So, having the blade in this position, I am going to get my soft stone and I'm going to cut one here. All right. And again, I'm not worried about this down there, but you can see now these are going to lock in nicely here. And now I want to do something different over here. Let's go like that. I can leave that there. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay. So now we've got that. We're going to pull this off. And now we have to remember that this piece was cut like this. So our next one, we're going to cut in a similar way so it'll slip in there. I'm leaving them on here so you can kind of see what it looks like when you're creating this. Okay. So now that's going to fit right in there. See what I mean? It does kind of feel Charlie Brownish. I like the gray too. My other one I'll show you again in the book. Very bright, and it's also in the idea sheet. It's very bright, but it's okay to do it bright. It's fun, but this is also really nice kind of as just a subtle background. So I'm flipping it again. you can see this coming together, right? Now this, we got to remember where our blade was. Our blade was this way. So I'm going to put it right here like this. And we'll see how this looks with it. I know, crazy, right? We might be able to use that edge on this one. I'll show you what I mean. So if we sneak that one in there, we already have this edge cut. Now we just have to cut a gray edge to match that. And we can line our die up to see what position we need it to be in. And we can do another one. Maybe even one of these is already cut, and it is. So we can make use of that. So isn't that kind of fun? Let's flip this around and cut this edge off so we make it similar in size to the other ones. So you can see I'm using up some of these extra pieces that fell off. This one's going to be too skinny to use, but there we go. And what is this one here? Ooh, that will work. Now, this was something that just fell off of one of the other ends. So I want to see here now if I can get the look I want out of this. And I think I can. There's my Master Layouts 2 die. So that's what I'm going to cut out to make my background. So I have all my pieces. I know that took a little while, but sometimes it's good to watch it. Let me get these out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll just move this out of the way briefly. Now again, for this, I'm using a piece of copy paper because I don't want to add very much thickness to this. It's going to be thick enough as it is than for me to, put it on another piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to lay this out first to make sure I have all of it where I want it. This is just a 1/4 sheet of regular old copy paper. I pulled it out of the printer. There we go. So that's what that's going to look like. So I'm going to tape these down to this piece of copy paper. And you could do this with glue if you want. There we go. And we can just move these aside. And this is the kind of stuff that I think, again, I mean, I know I say this a lot, but there's a lot of times where I just don't have mojo. But I know I've got a video coming up or a project coming up where I'm going to need some ephemera pieces, or I'm going to need some greetings, or I'm going to need some cool backgrounds. And so, when you don't know what to do, tune into this video again, follow along, and make some of those rainbow swishy things, or make some of these little mountainy things. And this is like such a cool masculine background even. You wouldn't even have to use this with flowers. You could use this with like a sailboat or just anything. See how they're coming together? It's like a puzzle, yeah. It's a puzzle, but it's like more fun than a puzzle. I like puzzles though. But they just snap right in. Until they don't. There we go. I said that. I knew I was going to say it and it wasn't going to snap right in. Okay. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get rid of some of the excess. I don't need all these flaps sticking to my die cutting machine. So I'm just going to go in right to where that copy paper starts, and I'm just going to trim off the excess stuff here just to get all these pieces off, because they have tape on them, some of them, and that's going to be messy on my die cutting plates. So if I just lightly trim around the perimeter here and just get them all off, I'll still have a big enough panel to cut. Okay. Isn't that fun? That would be fun too, like in army fatigue colors and stuff. If you've got like somebody who serves in the military and you wanted to do a card. I really love the pattern that it creates. Okay. Now we want to lay our, let's see if I can move up a little bit here. We want to lay our Master Layouts 2 die on top of this so that we don't get that white edge. I think that's going to be good. See, we're cutting off a lot of the gray down here too, this lighter gray. It's kind of even top and bottom. So we got lucky on that one. And because we're cutting just through copy paper, it's just actually just a tiny bit thicker than cardstock because we only have single layers of cardstock. It is a cool chevron design. All right, so if something doesn't, you know, break completely, it'll be easy to just break it apart. It is just a hair thicker, you know. There we go. So there's our background panel. Isn't that fun? Just something different. And I think the grays will be really pretty. But oh, you know what? While I'm here, let's cut a white oval. Find my ovals in here. I always take them home. I could do a circle too, but I don't want to do an oval. Let me see. Did I leave my ovals here? I did. So let's do a medium oval. And then we'll cut our black panels. What do we have in here? Oh. Find some black cardstock. I know I have some. Don't worry. I won't send Tom again. I promise.
By the way, for those who saw us on Tuesday night, we did have ice cream.
Yes. Tom got his peanut butter. Well, no. Did you get peanut butter topping? Did you put peanut butter topping?
Not that time, but I was very happy.
I had my traditional vanilla with chocolate sprinkles. Love the chocolate sprinkles. Takes me back to my Wildwood days where they did soft serve on the boardwalk. Love that. So thank you all for your suggestions for that. That was fun. So I decided to do an oval instead of a circle, but the circle just kind of, you know, kind of gave me an idea of how to lay out the flowers. All right, so these are our single stitched and double stitched circles that I'm using. I have them both on a magnet here, but these are actually two separate sets that work independently or together to create that little shadow layer. And then we need, that's all we need. We might need a greeting. I might have to cut a different greeting if I can't find exactly what I want, but that's all right. Okay, so now we've got our gray. Oh, I forgot to cut the other black piece. I knew there was a reason I was holding onto the die cutting machine and not letting go. But we'll cut these. I mean, we'll layer these first. What is wrong with me? Don't answer that. Don't answer that, Tom. Okay, so you can see we've got just that little bit of gray coming out of the background, and that's really pretty. Oh, back to the die cutting machine. I really need like a place on here. I need to do what Kathy Zilski does. Remember when she had her die cut cam where it's just somewhere else and it's a third camera? I don't know if I want to buy a third camera, but I feel like that would be kind of a good thing to have, so you could just switch cameras and be on the die cutting machine and not have to take it apart. I just have such a small space though. I don't know that that's going to work for me, but I think it's a cool concept. All right, we got that. You know, and maybe I should just do my greeting right now, but I think, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I love that. Now I'll use one of these other greetings. We'll make it work. Now I would like to use the Innocent Pink cardstock as a card base for this, because I feel like it would really kind of make it look soft, but I don't have any. So, and I'm just looking here to see if I really don't have any. But let me show you what I mean, because here is a piece. Ooh, I found one. Here's one. That'll work. I hope it's cut straight. But I feel like it's going to be the right color, and it's going to not make that gray look so like military fatigues. So let's cut this. Sometimes you open a drawer and you get lucky, which just shows you how disorganized I am, because I just shove things in drawers. I don't even know what's in them. All right, let's put this together now. We'll lay this on top. Should have put that on first, but I thought I did. Did you ever get like a flu or something, and then I know a lot of people had this when they got COVID. Like, you get COVID brain. I swear I have flu brain. Still not right. I'm close, but I'm still not right. Okay. So we'll put this here. I love the grays together, though. That's kind of a fun combination. And then we'll add this in the center, and we'll do our florals. We can do this here, like that. And we need to add a couple leaves coming out of here. That is very pretty. I like it. And we can make this into a sympathy card. Like that, and then we'll add a few little rhinestones. So let's do this now. I won't forget. I think I'll pop this up with a few little foam squares. Get some dimension on here. This would be also a really fun background, like if you have a teenage son and you wanted to make like a card for him. You had some like boy kind of stamps. I just feel like there's a lot of fun ways that you can use it. So this I will put right onto the card. We'll get it outside a little bit like that, maybe even more outside like that. I change it up sometimes. That's pretty, but you know, I think I'm going to trim it down a little bit.
So Anita is asking, what are the best colors for a sympathy card?
Well, it depends who it's for. I do like Innocent Pink. I think Innocent Pink is a really pretty soft color. I also like Ocean Mist. I like Sea Glass. I also like the grays, like Soft Stone. But again, you know, a lot of it depends. Should I use this little piece? I'm going to use this little piece that I just trimmed off, and I'm going to just stick it down in there because I feel like it needs another leaf. Why waste it? Could have cut it nicer if I knew I was going to use it. I think pinks are always pretty. But sometimes I use, like, if I know somebody really loved daffodils, I might make a yellow sympathy card kind of in their honor. So a lot of it is going to depend on who the person was and what their likes were. That is so nice. We'll put that right there. I could have stamped this better, but it's going to have to do. I stamped it a little light, but I think it's pretty. It has a nice feel to it, and I think I'm going to put a few little silver embellishments here because I think we'll play off of the gray a little bit. Trying to find my Connect glue that somebody sent me some pins that I have to use. Okay, so I'm going to just put one here, and one up here.
Blingering.
Blingering, taking my time, blingering along. So we'll do a small down here. Let's do a medium. Is that a medium? I think it is. And we'll do another small up here. There we go. So I think that little bit of silver pulls in some of the gray. So there is another card. Would you have ever thought that you would make this out of the same die set that you made this? I wouldn't have until last night. Did you put my Zoom thing back over here somewhere, Tom?
I did.
You did?
It's right on the corner.
Yeah, here it is, right on the very end. All right, so we'll zoom in and get some of the the junk out of the way. So there are 3 very different style cards made out of the Master Layouts 6. Of course, the traditional look. We know that we can do a lot of those, and we've done them. But here are 2 other fun things that you can do, which I think, oh, I moved that. It wasn't even dry. There we go. 2 other fun things that you can do with this die set outside of the box, you know, thinking outside of the box.
Wow.
Yeah, what do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I can't pick a favorite. They're amazing.
And remember, you know, you have all of these in your, to download, which I'm going to put on the website, on the blog, all of these layouts that you can do. And remember, it looks so fun in the bright colors too. So here we've got it in very subdued colors, but here we've got it in very bright colors. So right after the live, I'll head over to the blog and I will upload those new printable sheets for you for these layouts. And all those, you know, the actual photographs. And then I'll take pictures of these finished cards and I'll drop them in our Facebook group and also on the posts tab here on YouTube. So you'll be able to see these. And remember, you can always save these pictures too. All you have to do is right click on them and download them or take a screenshot. And you can print these out too and save them. So there's some fun things to do with Master Layout 6. All right, Tom, we have to give away a gift card, so we're definitely going to be doing that. But before we do that, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there, and you can find us over on Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. Just put that into Facebook. It's a private group. You join, you answer the questions and agree to our rules, and then come on in and see what everybody else is making with Gina K Designs products. and share your Gina K Designs projects too. We would love to see and encourage you over there. And then if you were looking for anything that you saw in today's video, of course, no pressure, but Brianne has been so kind to be here in the comments sharing links. But if you missed any of them, you can find everything that I used today over at ginakdesigns.com. That's our website. You'll also be able to find the printable downloads over there by clicking on the blog tab and then clicking on templates and charts. And then if you liked today's video, and we sure hope you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up, that helps our channel a whole lot. And then hit the subscribe button and all notifications so you never miss another video. We are planning our 200,000 subscriber party, and we're going to be having that very soon. And thank you to all of you for making that happen. All right, Tom, let's give away a gift card today.
Well, okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Oh, the excitement. And the winner today is Theresa Berger. Theresa Berger.
Yay, Theresa. Congratulations. Theresa, all you have to do is send your name and your email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get that digital gift card, $15 gift card out to you. You can use it whenever you want. It doesn't expire. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with another Stampin' Chat Live. And in the meantime, have a great weekend. Stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.